All around the country, cannabis laws are changing at lightning speed. But right here in the volunteer state, well, we're kind of stuck. We are literally surrounded on all sides by states where cannabis is legal in some form, which is turning Tennessee into this weird legislative island. So let's get into it and figure out why. Look, if you live anywhere near a state line in Tennessee, you know the drill. You might pop over the border for some real fireworks, right? Or you've probably seen the billboards inviting tourists to come here for some of that mountain liquor. But now there's a whole new kind of border run happening. And this time it's us, Tennesseans, who are leaving the state to buy something we can't get at home.
It's no exaggeration. Tennessee is truly becoming an island. While pretty much every single state that touches ours is loosening up its marijuana laws, our own legislature is, well, it's going the other way. They're passing new laws to restrict the cannabis products that are already for sale here. It's creating this strange bubble right in the middle of the South.
Okay, so to really get a handle on the pressure cooker we're in, we have to start by looking out. What exactly is going on in the 8 states that share a border with us?
A green ring is basically forming all around Tennessee. Just think about it. 6 of our 8 neighbors have already legalized cannabis in some way. Missouri's got a full-blown recreational market up and running. Virginia's not far behind. They're set to start in 2027. And even in North Carolina, which looks a lot like us on paper, there's this one huge exception that's just a quick drive for a lot of folks in East Tennessee. So that big exception, it's on the Qualla boundary, which is home to the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians. They're operating a full-scale dispensary there, totally legal under their sovereign law, and it's only about 2 hours from Knoxville. The general manager, Forrest Parker, he puts it really simply. He believes a future of regulation, not prohibition, is inevitable, and he wants a seat at that table. But here's the thing, the pressure isn't just coming from the outside. Honestly, the most fascinating part of this whole story is the massive paradox happening right here, inside our own borders. We're talking about a booming, $250 million cannabis market that already exists. With all the headlines and the heated debates down at the Capitol, you'd be totally forgiven for thinking Tennessee has, zero cannabis industry. But is that really the case? Not even close. Just look at this number. Nearly $246 million. That is how much business Tennessee's hemp-derived cannabis market did in just 1 year. We're talking about products like Delta-8 THC. This isn't some tiny niche industry. It's a huge economic driver that's been operating in a legal gray area, one that lawmakers are now scrambling to get a handle on. And get this, a study from 2025 found that when you break it down per person, we Tennesseans actually bought more of these products than people in states like Minnesota or Louisiana. So we don't just have a market. Out of the states they looked at, we have the biggest market per person. And this is the part that really matters. That same study came with a pretty serious warning. If Tennessee cracks down on these products without providing other legal regulated options, that $245 million market isn't just going to disappear. Consumers are just going to take their money across the border, or worse, turn to the illegal market. So how is Tennessee actually responding to all of this? Well, as the source articles so perfectly put it, we're moving at a stoner's pace. While all our neighbors are racing ahead, our state's response has been slow, it's been confusing, and it's completely tangled up in red tape.
You can't come up with a better analogy. The source material paints this perfect picture. You've got our neighbors moving at stock car speed, like they're flying around Bristol, and then there's Tennessee, just cruising along at a stoner's pace. It perfectly captures the 2 totally different approaches happening right next to each other.
And to really understand the confusion, another analysis described the state's process not as a clear, straight line, but as a relay race. It's all about these clumsy handoffs between different government agencies, legal challenges, and these super complicated transitions designed just to keep the whole market from falling apart. This timeline really shows you how messy that relay race is. A new, stricter law kicks in, but the state agency that's supposed to enforce it isn't even ready. So they have to slap on some temporary rules while they figure it out, and then they give retailers this really tight deadline to sell off all the products that are about to become illegal. For hundreds of small business owners, it's an absolute nightmare of uncertainty. So, what does this all mean? Where do we go from here? To really get the scale of the change, let's just focus on one local story out of Knoxville that covers about 20 years. It shows just how dramatically things have shifted, even if our laws haven't. Okay, so let's rewind about 20 years. A downtown business owner in Knoxville named Scott West was sent to prison. And his crime? He invested money from marijuana sales into fixing up the buildings in what's now the super popular Market Square. That was the reality back then. All right, now, fast forward to today. In those very same buildings in Market Square, the ones he helped save, you can walk right into a bar and legally order a drink infused with THC. Then you can stroll a block over to Gay Street and buy a Delta 8 vape. I mean, the change is it's absolutely stunning. So the reality, what's actually happening on the ground, regardless of the official laws, is this. The letters THC are, as the source article says, everywhere you look in Tennessee. It's on menus, it's in shop windows, it's a part of our daily lives and our economy. And that leaves us with the big final question, doesn't it? With this green ring of legalization closing in around us and a $250 million market already booming right here, is Tennessee just catching its breath, or is it getting left behind?